Hey, let me know if anyone's there. I've just done a live over in our academy and the reception was dire. So I couldn't see actually that anybody was there, which is not great because I do prefer it to be more interactive so I can answer people's questions. So if anybody is there, I'll hang on for a little bit and see if anybody crops up. Facebook will let people know I'm there. Give it a second. I'm sure Jackie will appear at some point. Let me know. So just press the like button or one of the symbols or the love hearts or whatever, just so I can see if anybody is there. Oh, Jackie there. Good. Okay, great. All right, it's showing me now that you are there. Okay, I'm just going to wait another 30 seconds to see if anybody pops up. I know a few people have said that they will watch the recording. They would be interested in the information. I just apologised over in the academy for my appearance as I'm in my dressing gown with wet hair, which is rather fetching as I had a nice bath. And I thought, I'm sure people won't mind if I am dressed like this. Who cares? You're not coming on to look at me, are you? You're just coming on hopefully to listen. Okay, so we'll see if anybody pops up, but basically it was quite a general title because actually our videos are much more general here than they are in the academy because we're not working particularly on specific stuff. We're just here to support and kind of do blogs and video blogs with some information that might be of use to you as a parent, because we do want to help and support as many parents as we can so that we can make parenting life a little bit easier, because it's stressful. It's really, really bloody stressful. Okay, so I was thinking, right, okay, there's quite a broad title about how can we reduce stress as a parent. So I was thinking, what can I talk about or what tips can I give that relate to stress in parenting that would be a common theme for anybody? Thinking, is there anything that crops up literally every time for people? So whatever the issue is, or whatever the fear, or whatever the worry or concern is about parenting, is there something that's like a common theme that fits into everybody's situation? And I was thinking, yeah, there is. There's definitely things that crop up all the time that people are stressed about. So that's what I'm going to mention. I'm going to go over 2 points. I have had a question from somebody, so I'm going to try and answer that. And if anybody does have any questions whilst I'm talking, please do comment. If anybody's there, press the button for either the like or the heart, so because I usually can see much quicker than if somebody's there, or say hi in the comments, whatever's best, just so that I know somebody's there. So what are the themes that every parent face at some time or other? And what are the things that we can do in order to reduce that stress? Okay, so one of the biggest things that I'll probably go out on a limb and say every single parent faces at some point, some more than others, some more common than others, but I'd say everybody faces this at some point, is your expectations. They're not aligned. They're not realistic. They're hard work, and sometimes they can just serve to actually make you much more stressed. I'm not talking about your expectations of your children, although that can also often be out of a line and can cause a great deal of stress. Hi, Jenny, gorgeous lady. So you can be completely out of whack in terms of, so there's more people cropping up now. So if you are there, say hi or just press one of the like buttons so I can see that you're there. So the first thing I would say that is a reoccurring theme for most parents, if not all, in relation to their stress levels is their expectations. Okay, so, and when I say expectations, a lot of it is how you're talking to yourself, what you're setting yourself up for, and what you're expecting of yourself is often, dare I say it, but completely bloody unrealistic. We all do it. I've done it regularly. And the more unrealistic it becomes, the harder it is, and the cycle goes on. So, hi there, want a naughty 5-year-old who's only just gone to bed? No thanks, definitely not. So in terms of expectations, one of the things that you can do is I want you to eradicate a word that I bet you use quite a lot from your vocabulary as a parent. You can erase it completely if you like, but particularly as a parent. And the word I want you to eradicate is should. Because every time we say the word should, it's like there's an expectation after that. It's almost like that word comes with a but. I should, it's kind of not finished, but I can't, or I won't, or I haven't got time, or I haven't. It's almost like the word should then sets us up with loads of kind of after parts that we have to then justify and beat ourselves up and all the rest of it. And actually, who says we should? Who says? Is it us? Is it our parents? Is it our children? Is it school? Is it the news? Is it the media? Is it society? What is it? And who are these people to tell us what we should do? You are by far the best parent that your child could ever have, because you are their parent. And what you decide, like, let's face it, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to mess up at times. It's impossible not to. And actually, to mess up occasionally and to be able to come out of it the other side is a good role model to our children to say, do you know what, we do mess up. Because we're not here to show them that things are perfect and that we're perfect and we do everything exactly as we should, when we should, all of those because that's not realistic. So I want you to eradicate the word should. So what do you replace it with? Well, two ways that you could replace it is by using need or want. What do you need? What do you want? Use both of those words, but eradicate should, because all that's doing is setting up some potentially very unrealistic expectations, and it feels like there's a but coming with it. There's an expectation then of, oh, I should, but it's difficult to say that almost without the but afterwards. And we don't like buts, we don't need buts, because at the end of the day, whatever we decide is right for us in that moment is right for us. Okay, so swap the word should with need or want. So if you find yourself saying should a lot, your stress levels are probably rising. That's an indication that actually, hang on a minute, am I taking care of myself, or am I getting carried away here with all the things that I should be doing? What do I want? What do I need? It's again being realistic, prioritising. Do certain things need to happen in that day? If you wake up one day and you're feeling a bit shit, do you need to do that huge list of everything? Do you need to? Do you have to absolutely do it that day? Maybe you should do it, but actually we're not interested in the shoulds. Do you need to? Is it a matter of life or death? If it's not, no. If you want, do you want to do it? Not really. Don't do it. Take that time for something else. Take that time to take care of you, because if you take the time to take care of you when a lot of things can wait, I guarantee the next day you'll feel more motivated to do it, because you've had a rest, you've had a break, and you've not spent all day telling yourself what it is that you should or shouldn't be doing. I should have done this, I should have done that, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. So not only is it taking better care of you, it's also about what you model into your kids. And again, what you're saying out like, oh, I should have done this, or no, actually, you didn't need to do it, you didn't want to do it, so it's okay for you to choose not to do it. So that's the thing I wanted to say. And realistically, if we're really honest, a lot of things can wait at times. If we're having a bad day, if we've had a really busy few days and we're just exhausted and we'd just rather not do it, it can wait. It's not the end of the world. So, okay. There's another part. The second thing I wanted to say is this other part to lowering your expectations. Okay, so we want you to eradicate the should, change it for want or need, and think about it in that perspective rather than the shoulds, but also about lowering your expectations. So one of the examples that myself and Jackie have used when we've been training people in terms of working with children where they're not particularly praising children enough, and it's about consequences and doing the things that they should be doing, and we talk about lowering your expectations and want you to do this with you as well. So we'll give you this kind of same example, but I think it's a whale. Jackie, give me a thumbs up. Is it a whale? Shamu. I think it's a whale. Is it a killer whale or is it a dolphin? I don't know. But there's an animal, Shamu. It's a whale or a dolphin. I don't know which one. I was in the bath when I should have been looking it up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So when this whale or dolphin is being trained in America, it's being trained to jump over a rope ridiculously high in the air to perform for a huge audience. It's a trick. And actually, when you think about how do you get a dolphin to jump that height? Shamu the whale. Oh, it's a whale. So how do you get the whale to jump that height? It's not natural. Whales swim around the sea and they swim. Jen knows about Shamu as well. Well, they're not the same thing. I don't know. Not very good with animals. So naturally they're swimming around the surface quite often. And so these trainers want to train them to jump above this line. They can't just go in and go, right, come on, jump, and offer them food and stuff, because these whales are going to be thinking, I can't jump there, it's too high, like how can I possibly get up there? And they're just going to give in. And I think that's what we do a lot, is go, oh, I've got so much to do, things I should be doing, I just can't do it. And obviously it feels too overwhelming. So what they did with the whale, probably get this slightly wrong as well, but you'll get the gist and the idea behind it, is what they do is they start by putting the rope on the floor of the pool or whatever it is they're training them in. And they put that rope on the floor, and every time that whale goes over it, it gets a treat. So first of all, it's learning that actually all it's got to do is just go over it. Just go over that rope, and it's right at the floor, so they don't have to jump, they just go over it. And then they'll higher it slightly higher and slightly higher and slightly higher. So they keep going. So they're building up the confidence and building up in this whale to think, actually, I can do this. And they're being rewarded as they go along. So what I'm saying to you is, and why I'm kind of giving this example is, think about yourselves as Shamu. Like, some days you might get up and feel like you can jump over that rope high in the air and you're full of beans and you're on form. But other days you might feel like you don't even want to get out of bed. So you need to lower your rope, because you're not going to jump as high as that if you're feeling already as soon as you've woke up that you don't feel great. And we all have those days, whether we're a whale, a human, whatever we are, we have those days. If you've got pets, you'll know there's days where your pets are jumping around the house like mad, and other days where it's a bit sunny outside and they'll just lie there and they'll just hardly move all day. Like, we're no different. We have days where we can be arsed and days where we can't. So it's about lowering our expectations and not expecting ourselves to be absolutely fully on form all of the time, because it's just not realistic. So I want you to think about it in that sense. And the same with your kids, actually, to use that if your children are going through a particular time period where they're really misbehaving and you are really feeling the pain of having to tell them off a million times a day, lower your rope. Start giving the praise for the fact that they got up out of bed. You know, all right, they might not have put their socks on, but they got out of bed. Oh, you got out of bed the first time I had to ask you. That's brilliant. That's fine. So again, you can do it with your children. Lower that rope, because they will then start to respond to that praise. So you also need to be doing this for yourself. So if you're tired, if you're ill, if you're having a bad day, whatever it is, you need to lower your rope. So it's not about, I need to get rid of this stress, I need to stop being stressed. Actually, you need to adjust your expectations. So the two ways I've mentioned in getting rid of the word should, think about what you need or want, and also lowering your rope, lowering your expectations. Sorry, I'm getting messages popping up. So they're the two main things that I want you to do. And the other thing that kind of fits in with expectations and lowering the rope is, I hear day in, day out from parents all the things that they feel that they do wrong and they're not good enough at. In fact, I could probably safely say, Jackie, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've never had an email from a parent telling us that they had a really great week and they feel they did fantastically well, all things considered. Don't think we've ever had that. In fact, if I dug out every email I've ever had from a parent, I don't think there'll be one in there of any parent that has said to us, okay, this is a struggle, but do you know what, I'm really good at this. And it's had a really bad couple of weeks, but I did really well yesterday, but I want to know how I can work on. There's never any praise in there. Now, we can praise you, but actually you're in your own head all day long. So you need to be better at telling yourself what it is that you've done, even when you don't think it's that big a deal. So if you, no, we haven't, have we? So if you wake up that day and you're feeling pretty rubbish, you know, if I'm having one of them days and I resign myself to the fact that just going to do the bare minimum today. But actually, if on those days I think I'm going to do the bare minimum and I put a wash on and I manage to feed my daughter and get her to school and get her back from school and survive the day, sometimes I think, do you know what, today's been tough, but I've got through it and I've done really well because I lower my expectations rather than going into the whole, I should have done this, I should have done that, should, because it doesn't help us. Okay. So, I don't think I've got any questions. If anyone's got any questions, do just pop them in. But I haven't got it in front of me. Somebody asked me, it was about their partner or their husband, saying that when the partner or husband gets anxious, it then makes them anxious and they then act in a certain way that they don't particularly like or is not helpful. And this really does link into this, actually, because another way of us lowering our rope is to remember that we can't be responsible for everybody else's feelings. And I'd love to be able to give that person some tools and say, do this with your husband, or do that, or if you do this, or if you do that, it'll make it all better. And I can't, because I don't know that person, I don't know that person's husband, and I don't know the specifics of the situation. But even if I did, it's still extremely difficult, because you can't change what somebody else is feeling or how they react. Only they can do that. So all you can do is focus on yourself. And actually part of that is lowering your expectations and not beating yourself up about the fact that actually when this person in my life acts like this is what it triggers in me. But it's taking responsibility and going, well, I'm going to choose not to react like that, actually, because that's not my stuff. Excuse my French if you don't like swearing, but that's not your shit, that's their shit. And in a way, the best thing you can do to help them is to not take that on. And if you feel it, then think about, oh, what is this for me? What's happening in me when they're anxious? Why am I getting anxious? And is it that you're taking responsibility for them? Are you trying to fix it? Are you setting your expectations far too high of what you expect of yourself in these situations? And when things are calm and you're not anxious, then I would be saying to your partner, to your husband, you know, when this happens, when you get like this, I've noticed that this is how I react, and I don't want to react like that because it's not helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk away from the situation, for example, and say to them, you know, what do you feel you could do to prevent these? Do you realise that that's what you get like? Do you notice? And then do you notice a change in me? So it's about communicating and seeing what you're noticing in each other, really. But remembering that the harsh reality is you can't change your partner or your husband, or you can't change anybody else. It's the same with your children, really. All that you can do is work on yourself and what that means for you, and they will then respond differently. Because actually there might be a little bit of a feeding each other going on, because we do project our feelings onto other people. So you might feed each other's anxieties. So actually if you separate out from that and think, okay, well, when they're really anxious, I notice that then happens to me, and I don't know what the details are, but it might be then that you take over and you try and get control of the situation, which then makes you feel anxious. And actually thinking, okay, what can I do differently where I'm not taking responsibility for that person's feeling? So maybe I need to go out of the room. You know, maybe I need to do something different that involves just you and not that other person, if that makes sense. So without too much detail, it's difficult to answer. So if that doesn't answer your question, do send us a message and give me a bit more detail. But the key thing that's going to come out of that is actually you can't change another person and the way they respond to a situation. You can let them know how it comes across to you and how it makes you feel, but it's about thinking, right, what's my part in it? What am I doing to feed it? And actually, what can I do differently? Because if you change, they will automatically change because they'll be so used to. You know, so for example, when I said maybe you then take over the situation because they're anxious, and then you get anxious, and when you get anxious you go into doing mode and you go into fix it mode, and you might then overreact. Maybe that's partly why they do that, because then they know you take over, you know. And we kind of, when we're in relationships, you know, if we're married, particularly people we're close to, we play a lot of games with each other because we can preempt each other. It's almost like we know what each other's thinking and we know what's going to happen, and so we get into patterns where we will feed each other. So it's about stepping out of that and think, actually, if someone else is in this room, so say if Sari from Parent Plus was sat in this room and she saw us, what might she see that I don't see? And sort of kind of take a step back from it yourself so you can think about it a little bit clearer. So I hope that helps. And I don't think I've got any other questions. So if anyone's got any questions and you watch this a bit later, do comment, do feel free to comment. Myself and Jackie are just going to post a link in the group. We've had a lot of inquiries about the academy, and we've decided to do, we've only done it once before, but we're going to do 2 days where it's reduced price for 2 days. And so instead of £25 a month, it's £19.95 a month, and if you join up you get that for the life of the time that you're in there. So yeah, so we'll put that link on there. If anybody wants to have a look, please feel free. If you've got any questions, give me a shout. So I hope that helps. So just to recap, 2 main things: reducing your stress straight away, eradicate the word should, change it, thinking about need or want. So every time you say the word should in your head, I want you to think of me going, don't use that word, need or want instead. Be much more effective for you. And secondly, Shamu, the whale, or the dolphin as I called it. Think about how you can lower your rope, being realistic. So if you just start with those 2 things, honestly, they will make your parenting life less stressful, I promise, I guarantee. You will resist it, you definitely will. But just keep reminding yourself, when you hear it, I want you to hear me saying, don't say should, and change it to need or want. Okay, so I hope those tips help you, and I will catch up with you all very soon. I can see those lights off Jenny and Jackie. Bye guys, see you soon.